Hey everybody, I'm David.
And I'm Eddie.
And we are full-time gays. And we're joining you from SIRenity Farms in Sullivan, Missouri, Part 2.
We're coming to you for a second review after their first season to see what they've done in season 2.
And a sneak peek, it's really good. Join us. Hey everybody, welcome from SIRenity Farms in Sullivan, Missouri again. We're back. It's our second time here. We came at the end of last season.
Correct.
And it was October. It was mostly cold and dreary.
Disgustingly cold.
There weren't a lot of people here. They weren't even open during the week. They made a special exception to let us stay during the week so that we could travel on the weekends.
Yep.
This is their first full season. They have made a ton of upgrades, and so we're going to give you another tour, redo our ratings from last year. I'll give you a spoiler, they've gone up.
Yep.
And we're also going to talk about things that you can do in the local area, which is something that a lot of folks have asked us to do. So if you're interested in more gay campground reviews from us, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you hit the bell so that you can get alerted whenever we do a new video. This is our second on this particular trip of, I think, 15 gay campground reviews.
Yep.
And we're going to review them in 4 areas, and those are...
First one's going to be big rig friendliness. We cut that down into 2 different areas. One is how friendly is it to get to the park, and the other half of that is how friendly is it to navigate within the park.
For a big rig.
For a big rig.
Yeah, and then we talk about grounds and facilities. So what kinds of things do they have here? Do they have sewer? Do they have good water? Do they have rental facilities? Is there a pool? Is there a deck? How good is it? All of the things that you would expect from an infrastructure standpoint, we talk about in grounds and facilities. And then we look at
the vibe. Something totally subjective. It's going to be different for every person who comes here. It's going to depend on the people you interact with. It's going to depend on the weather. It depends on the event that weekend. But we're going to talk about what the vibe was for us while we were here.
And finally, we look at the internet, because like a lot of folks that are full-timing these days, we need internet in order to work. There's several people here these past couple of weeks. And
Exactly.
so we look at how good is the cell phone coverage for the major carriers. We look at the Wi-Fi availability in the campground. And then a request that we had this winter was to talk about some of the things in the local area. How close are we to stores and restaurants and tourist attractions? And there's a Six Flags spot. There's lots of stuff.
Lots of things
around here that we're going to talk about. So again, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, stay tuned. Here we go. Let's talk about
big rig friendliness. It is a mile off of the interstate, a paved road, no hills, no curves, no blind curves.
No big curves.
A curve. There's a
There's like one curve.
But it allows for a dramatic entrance. You go around the curve and boom, there's the park. But yeah, there's really not much to talk about. That's right off the highway. So 5 for me.
Yeah, same. It was last year. This year, same thing. It's an easy 5. You know, especially a lot of gay campgrounds are quite a ways off the beaten path. Not all, but most. And they're really tough to get to for the big rigs, the biggest rigs. There's a lot of places that we won't even go. Because of the lack of big rig friendliness.
Yep.
So easy 5. When you're in the park, they've actually made a couple of upgrades over the last year.
Yep.
You still have the 2 primary entrances. I don't know if they use that last one as kind of a 3rd entrance.
The last one is more for the RVs coming in. I think that's the only reason they use it.
Okay, yeah. So they're still the same entrances. They have the rocks that they started dumping to make roads and whatnot last year. They were pretty loose last year, and that if you have 4-wheel drive, you might want to use it when you're going up a hill. That's not really the case this year. They rented like a compactor, like one of those big
steamrollers,
like from Roger Rabbit sort of things, right? And they spent like all day, an entire day, just compacting the rocks. I mean, they're still a little bit loose. Segwaying is better than last year. Still didn't segway a whole lot, but it's also not a huge park from a size standpoint. So they've made improvements. Now, when you get into the park, you got all your transient sites, or at least the ones we know about, are all pull through. So it's easy to just pull in, turn, park, and you're done. Now, those sites are on a little bit of a slope, but it doesn't seem to be enough to make a difference to anybody. We didn't have an issue with it. I don't think anybody else has either.
Nope, our auto level worked just fine. I mean, you may want to put a board underneath one side just to kind of make it a little more even, but I mean, no big deal.
Yeah. And then last year they had a couple of challenges with people getting, not I guess sinking for lack of a better word, not like a lot, but just enough. And that's not been the case this year.
Yep, now it's all compacted down. A lot of people were sinking like where they dug the trenches for the lines and stuff like that. So all that's settled now, everything's good.
So it's better.
Yep.
So last year I think I gave like a 3 out of 5 for inside the park. Right. I'm gonna go to a 4 this year. I think they've made improvements. The only thing I could possibly think of is that exit. You still have to do kind of if you pull forward out of your site, you still have to do like a little bit of a weird turn to get out. Totally doable, especially anybody less than 43.5 feet. We could probably do it with no problem. Yep. To be safe, we're gonna just back up and then still go out that exit. Last year we went out the entrance because we were that afraid. Not this year. So for me, it's an easy 9.
Okay.
Really?
All right, it's for me, coming from the passenger seat, where I don't have to have that kind of stress. Last year I kind of rated it a 4. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5 on inside the park. So for me, a 10.
Okay, so you gave it a 10, I gave it a 9. 9.5 out of 10 for big rig friendliness.
Yep.
As far as gay campgrounds go, it doesn't get much better than this.
Super easy.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the grounds and facilities a little bit.
So we talked about those last year. We'll kind of do a real quick recap of what they have. They have the, which, as you called, a hybrid pool, which is one of those pools that could be above or below ground. It doesn't even look like it's an above ground pool, even though it is, because they've built the deck around it. It's what, 4,000 square foot deck.
4,000 square foot deck, multi-level. It's like the decks at Rainbow Ranch, but even bigger.
Yeah. They have the 2 hot tubs that last year were struck by lightning and weren't working. They are now up and running. As I mentioned in the last video, they are sunken into the deck, so you don't have to try to climb up into them. You just step down into them. The backup hot tub that they got from the lightning strike is still there, so they have the 3 hot tubs in the common area. There is a 4th hot tub, but that is restricted for the guest house guest only.
Well, tell us about the guest house.
Which is also brand new this year. They had converted their home on the property. It is now a 5-bedroom home. One of them is for themselves, and there's 4 guest rooms with a common use kitchen, common use living area, common use outdoor patio, and the hot tub, which is all just for the guest house guest.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And in addition to that, they've added they've put their 3 RV rentals into one area, which is kind of a new RV section that I don't even know if they were planning on doing. But they're closer together, but they're rentals, and they're nice rentals. So if you want to get a taste of living in an RV or even being in an RV, check one of them out.
Yeah, it's in a section that wasn't even fenced in last year.
Yeah. And that's another thing that they've improved is the fence. I mean, they've extended the fence line, they've raised the fence where it was easy to see onto the road, and so it's a lot more private, and it's a clothing optional campground. And last year you could say that really only down here. This year up there, most areas are clothing optional as long as you don't have a direct view to the road.
Exactly.
So that's a great piece of it, a great piece of the grounds and facilities. They also have, to my knowledge, all the RV sites have sewer. If not all, almost all of them, certainly all the transient sites do. Good tasting water, good water pressure. Sewer is right where it's supposed to be. Power 30 amp, 50 amp. They've got the tenting areas.
They have electric. I don't know if they have water, but I know they have electric out there. Yeah,
I don't know if they have water either. You can do primitive tenting, and we've seen people last weekend, like a super busy weekend, there were people putting tents up wherever they had space, even if they didn't have electric. So from a grounds and facilities standpoint,
there's still more. We still haven't even talked about the pond yet.
Oh my gosh, that thing right there!
They got the deck, they've got the paddle boat, they've got the dive platform out in the middle there. We actually saw people out in the pond last weekend. Funny story about the pond. Some of the Cecils wanted the owners to actually add sand to the edge of the pond here so they can have a beach to lay out on. So one of the things the owners do is they make sure that everything is legit and legal with the property. They don't want to have any problems with the county. So they went to the county and said, hey, can we do this? They had found out that one of the employees was going around trying to be funny and said, oh, those guys over there at SIRenity Farms, they wanted to add a beach. They might want to call it Peter Beach.
They refer to the campground as Peter Beach now.
And I'll call it Peter Beach.
So what do?
They built swag, and they can't keep it on the shelf.
They're calling it Peter Beach, and they cannot sell enough of these shirts.
Exactly. They've got the common fire pit right there.
Yeah, the fire pit.
The rec center is now open.
I did forget a lot. Oh my gosh.
It's a big, huge barn with double doors on either side.
How about 2,000 square feet, maybe?
Yeah, it's pretty massive.
Yeah.
They have one little section cut off for themselves. It's all, walled in. It's just for their storage. But the rest of the building is there. It's got tables and chairs, and it's got serving counters for snacks and drinks and whatever else you want. Their old bathhouse is now down here by the rec center.
That's right. Yes, yes.
Because their new bathhouse is up and running. Last
Boy,
year,
I forgot a lot.
Last year when we were here, the walls were up, but the rafters, roof, nothing was there. When we were leaving, they were actually putting the rafters up. But it's open now. We've got some pictures of it, unoccupied. But they've got private stalls, they got urinals, they got bathroom sinks, they've got gang-style showers. I think they've got private showers. They have private showers, right?
What kind of style showers? Anyway, go ahead.
Common showers.
Common showers.
For everyone to enjoy together. Other thing on grounds facilities, the seasonal sites are in, already taken. Decks are going up, landscape is going in. I feel like I'm running out of breath because I don't know what else I can actually talk about here.
They've got rentals. They still have the same rentals. They have 6 cabins, 2 down here that don't have sewer.
Right.
And then 4 up top that all do have sewer, of which 2 are queen size beds, 2 are king size beds. Bottom line, you name it, this place seems to have it. And it's hard to find that huge mix of options at any gay campground, let alone a gay campground that's only 30 acres. 30 acres. They don't use all 30 acres, but so they have room to grow if they want to. But for grounds and facilities, I'm going to give it like a 9. I mean, I can't think of many things that they could do to improve it. Maybe a little bit more landscaping still. They've been busy. They did a lot this winter. I think last year I gave it a 7, right?
That sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, so 7 to 9, bordering 10, but I'm gonna stick with 9 because you can always do more.
Yeah, and I know you just said you can always do more. Yes, you can add like a roller coaster park, a water park. A launch pad. You can do all these things. But for a campground, I'm not so sure that you can really add a whole lot more. Sure, you can put in some plants. Okay, great. But, I'm just going to call it a 10.
Okay. So 9.5 out of 10. Again, this time for grounds and facilities.
You got it.
How about the vibe?
Vibe, again, totally subjective, but our experience here was phenomenal. People invited us to dinner, whether it be here in the park or outside of the park at a restaurant. Someone brought us a bottle of wine because they wanted to make sure that we had got an opportunity to try a bottle of Missouri wine. You go to the deck area where the pool is, as soon as you round the corner, everyone's like, hey, how are you? Come on in. It's just an open, inviting vibe around here. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it really has. The people are super inviting. It's a very inclusive environment.
Yeah.
This is a true, not L, but GBT. It's men-only campground, right? It's clothing optional, like I mentioned, but it's very trans-friendly. In fact, this week there is a trans man that is here that is super open to talking about
any questions you have.
Any questions you have. We hung out with them at the pool. It's a clothing optional pool. It wasn't weird. He's a guy. It's hard to imagine, again, a place. It's not just the people, it's the owners, Michael and Dennis.
Love them.
They were great last year. These are guys that they're as good as you can be. They are genuine, they are caring, they are passionate, they are dedicated. Dennis, if you compliment the park, he tears up. And it's not just because of their pride in what they've built, it's their pride in what they've been able to provide for the community. And it's been less than a year since they opened, and this place is selling out more weekends than not.
Even just their Facebook page, it grows continuously. This week they hit 5,000 members.
On just their Facebook page.
I want to point out that they have 5,000 members on their Facebook page, but we only have 1,600 subscribers. So if you want, put down in the comments below why the other, 4,400 of you haven't subscribed.
Or just subscribe and comment saying I subscribed, and then we'll just be happy. We love doing this, and we actually just finally hit that quote-unquote monetization threshold on YouTube, so thank you to those of you that have subscribed and watched. We're at 40,000 views.
Yep. And we'll let you know when we get that first 11-cent check from YouTube.
Yes, we're going to be able to start the truck compliments of our YouTube channel. But going back to the vibe, it is as good as it gets. I mean, this is right up there with Freedom Valley. This is right up there with a River Ridge in Kentucky, another newer campground. This is right up there with a Sawmill or even a Grizzly Pines in terms of that epic vibe.
Welcome to SIRenity Farms!
There's no sense of attitude. There's no sense of clickiness. There's just open, welcoming, friendly people.
And love.
That want to have a really good time.
Yep.
And so for that reason, I have absolutely no qualms about giving it a full 10.
And I'm going to 100% agree with you. It is going to be a 10 all day.
Okay, so we're at 9.5, 9.5, 10.
Yep.
All right, I think I see where this is going. So for the internet, I mean, not a whole lot has changed since last year, but we do have a little bit more information. So there is Wi-Fi available for all of the transient sites. It comes from the office. We didn't need to use it though. And the reason for that is that Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile all have strong signals. We use, well, you know what we use, and if you don't, check out our other videos because we talk at length about what we do to get mobile internet, which we need to work, and a lot of it lately to work. I've had no problem downloading multiple gigabyte files onto my computer this week. It's probably 40, 50 megabits per second.
We're doing internet phone calls through our laptop. You can also stream your Netflix
easily,
stuff like that.
Yeah. The only limiting factor is your own hotspot plan that you might have. Now down here at the pool, the signal's a little bit weaker with our Verizon. I don't know how much weaker it is with AT&T or T-Mobile, but because we're a little bit more secluded, we're kind of downhill. It's still usable for us. I think it'd be nice if they were to eventually at some point maybe consider putting a repeater down here for Wi-Fi so that people can have it. But there's so many people in the pool. I mean, all those people on Grindr and Scruff are just gonna bog it down anyway.
Right.
But you know, as far as internet goes, it's hard to fault them for anything. I mean, I'm gonna give it, I think last year we gave it a 7. This year I'm gonna go with a 9. What would make it a 10 would be just those extra repeaters, which I think is on the roadmap anyway, but it's not urgent because if you're at the pool, why are you gonna be sitting on your phone in the first place? Where you need the internet, it's available.
So I'm going to mirror your score as well and say a 9 on the internet. Again, if you get some repeaters down here to where, you know, the pool area, the rec center area, the hot tubs area, they can have a little bit more of a strength, great.
Yeah, I mean, it's so overall we're at 9.5, 9.5, 10, and 9. Without even looking at our old videos, I can tell you that is the highest score we've ever given any campground, and it's easy because many campgrounds excel at some of those things, but there's usually a balance, like a counterbalance. Not here. I mean, they have it all, and it is one of our very favorite campgrounds.
Absolutely. I mean, I would even go as far as saying, you know, I'm going to refuse to put it in my top 5 because I do believe SIRenity Farm belongs in my top 3.
Or my top 2.
Yeah, I would even go that far.
Yeah, it's really great. Now I'm going to say top 3. I mean, because it just depends on your mood, right? It depends on what you're after. For us, we absolutely love it. We can't recommend it high enough. Now, one of the last things that we're going to talk about that people asked us to talk about was the local area. And we're close to cities, well, to towns that have the amenities that you need. It's what, 10 minutes from Sullivan?
About 10 minutes from Sullivan, where you're going to find a Walmart, Dairy Queen, McDonald's, Arby's, KFC, Taco Bell.
If the Dairy Queen's open. He had his birthday while we were here, and we went to go get
One thing I wanted.
He wanted a Blizzard, and the labor shortage thing. It was like 7 p.m. We went to, where did we go to dinner? we went to Applebee's. It was actually a lot better than I remember. Maybe they're making a run. Anyways.
But yeah, one thing I wanted for my birthday was Dairy Queen. We got there at 7:02. They closed at 7 p.m. Bitter?
Shortage.
Yes. Anyways, but you're gonna find all kinds of things within Sullivan, your restaurants. Try El Sol Mexican restaurant.
Oh my God.
Food is phenomenal, and if there is a Mexican restaurant that knows how to make a margarita, El Sol knows how to make them.
Yeah, don't get a picture unless there's 4 of you because you're gonna be taking an Uber home. It's inexpensive, it's really tasty, the service is friendly. A lot of people from here come there, a lot of people from here go there.
Yeah.
And so they're used to, you know, not that there would be a thing, but they love us. If they know that you're from SIRenity Farms, like, oh, hey, how you doing?
Yep. There's another town a little bit further from that, Union. You're gonna have very similar facilities, plus pharmacies and things like that. But if you want to go touristing type of things, there's all kinds of stuff around here. You're basically on old Route 66. So at this exit off of the interstate, you have Merrimack Caverns. We intended to go there, we did not. So we're gonna put that on our to-do list for next time we come down. But you got all kinds of different things. I'm sure if you look hard enough, you're going to find the world's biggest ball of twine within a couple miles from here.
There's a Carol Baskin wannabe.
There is. There is basically next door. I don't know if it's still open or not.
No, it's not next door. It's on the service road.
It's on a service road,
yeah.
but it's real close. But there's all these signs for a white tiger zoo. I think Carol Baskin lives next door. By the way, we think she did it. If you think she did it, tell us in the comments below.
But after you subscribe.
After you subscribe. There's all kinds of things to do around here, but even if you wanted to do something even bigger, you can go up to Eureka, which is about a 40-minute drive to where you have all kinds of even other things to do, including a Six Flags.
Yeah, and 2 RV dealerships in case you want to upgrade your RV, which we may or may not be thinking about doing. Also, tell us what RV we should get. We're thinking about toy haulers or upper end fifth wheels. Let us know in the comments because we are in the market for a new fifth wheel or a toy hauler.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so in conclusion, this place is epic.
Yeah.
We use that word a lot, but not usually so all-encompassing. This is a dream of a retreat, and the owners make it good, the crowd makes it good, the internet is functional, it's easy to get to. It's hard to imagine a better place.
So, final thought, would you come back to SIRenity Farms?
Yes, I'm sad that we're leaving, but I'm looking forward to seeing new places too.
Exactly. I don't want to leave because I love it here so much, but yeah, we do want to go see other places as well. So with that said,
I'm David.
And I'm Eddie.
And we are
In It Together.
In It Together.